In our Wonderful Day in the Lord broadcast, we are still in chapter 12, and as I mentioned a couple of days ago, there are three wars described in this particular chapter. We have the first a war on the earth, as Satan goes after Christ himself and after Israel. Then there's a war in heaven, as we see Michael and his angels in battle with Satan and his demons. And then we have a third war going on, starting with verse 13, and this one once again is on the earth. So remember now, Satan has been cast down. He's been thrown out of heaven. He has no longer any access to the heavenlies and access to God. And that has not been true throughout all these centuries, because until now, although he has no authority in heaven, although he is simply one who has to come before the Lord to report to him, still he has access to the heavenly places. And that is no longer true. And started with verse 13, he is now thrown down to earth, and we pick up the story at that point. And when the dragon saw that he was thrown down to the earth, so here he is, he's on the earth and earth only. He persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. Now remember, we saw her earlier in the chapter. This is a picture of Israel. Israel has given birth in this sense to the Messiah, to Jesus Christ. So that's the picture. But the two wings of the great eagle were given to the woman so that she could fly into the wilderness to her place, where she was nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So times, and half a time is the old style of saying 3.5 years. And so once again, she is protected. The Lord enables her to flee. Satan wants to destroy Israel. Satan has always wanted to destroy Israel. We think of the Holocaust as an example, and other attempts at destroying the nation, but none of those have ever happened. None of those ever will happen. The Lord is protecting his people. Here's the greatest challenge Israel has ever faced. The devil himself is trying to destroy her. And the Lord gives her the wings, it says here, to fly away and be protected. In verse 15, Satan pulls out all the stops, and the serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, so that he might cause her to be swept away with the flood. So whatever that means, is probably metaphorical. We don't know. But whatever he's doing, he's doing everything in his power to destroy the people of God, the nation of Israel. But it says in verse 16, the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened his mouth and drank up the river, which the dragon poured out of his mouth. Now, again, we don't know exactly what that looks like or how the earth was used to protect Israel, but something took place on the planet itself that became a barrier to the attack that Satan was bringing about on the nation of Israel. So the nation, again, is protected. Satan is after that nation. He wants to destroy Israel. He could not destroy the Messiah. He could not destroy Christ. He tried apparently at the incarnation. He certainly tried at the crucifixion, but he has failed. And now he is very angry. And so verse 17, it says, so the dragon was enraged with the woman. Now, he couldn't destroy the child, Christ, and he now has not been able to destroy Israel. But that doesn't take away his anger. Matter of fact, that causes him to be more enraged. And he went off to make war with the rest of her children, who keep the commandments of God and hold to the testimonies of Jesus. Now, who would this be? Since it's not the nation of Israel, but it says the rest of her children, we take this to mean that this is the followers of the Lord, those who keep his commandments, who are not part of Israel. So these are Gentile believers. We saw them back in chapter 7, where the 144,000 had been sealed against any attack from evil forces to be witnesses for the Lord. And then there was a great multitude who were not of Israel, who had also come to the Lord, and some of them had become martyrs. And this is what is happening here. He turns his attention, the devil does, to the followers of the Lord who are not Israel. And his wrath is poured out. He's furious, and he wants to destroy. He wants to wreck everything that God has created, and especially the people that the Lord loves. That leads us straight into chapter 13, where now his attention moves away from Israel and to what he wants to do on the earth. And there we pick up the story that deals with the Antichrist and what takes place between this point, about 3.5 years into the tribulation period, right up to the time of the return of Christ. So we're going to grab that next time and begin to look at chapter 13. I hope you can join us. You have a wonderful day in the Lord.